the things we share with the daughter. So, depending on which combination of people are around, we'll select from whatever we were watching with that group of people just prior.
There you go. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've seen it online.
Yeah.
There was some piratey, I don't know, Pirate Republic or something like that. It had John
Mm.
Malkovich in it,
Mm.
and it was a TV series. It was maybe 5 episodes, 6 episodes, or something. It was good. I liked Michael. I mean, is it John Malkovich? He played like, I think Blackbeard retired or some pirate who'd retired to some island, and of course, then everyone was coming to get him, kind of a thing.
The great part about John Malkovich is that you're always just playing John Malkovich.
Yeah, pretty much. If you
Yeah.
like John Malkovich, you'll like anything
And
he does.
exactly, because that what you see is
Yep,
what you
what you
get.
see is what you get. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, because I have lost my mind, I don't seem to be able to remember when our games begin. I showed up an hour early to John's house Tuesday. I showed up an hour early here, but it did mean that I actually went through and did the math and counted up all the losses and everything, which may be redundant to things done by you guys, but it made me feel better.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's the
didn't
top of
We're
the
know
hour.
about
So
that.
I did the
we're at the
math
top of
for
the
the
hour.
Austrians.
Okay,
So
now we're going to find out if you were right.
yeah, so based on my calculations, I came in at
Yes.
145 losses.
Oh, but you're wrong.
Okay. Am I
I,
over or
I,
short?
I came in at 154 for you, including uh the routed. No, I'm sorry. No, it was 154 without the routed, and then there were five routed. So I got to the 159 number. Interesting. And that's an important distinction because that would get you in the second column. So we definitely need to get to the bottom of what the difference is there.
Uh,
Now, let me ask,
hmm.
because this was something what I thought perhaps was going on. Did Sir Baloney get whacked?
Oh, that. Yes, he did. So I did not count him. I'm not
There's
used
10.
to. Yep,
Yeah.
there's 10. So that puts us
Yeah.
up to 154.
Okay, and I had you at 154 plus the five routed. So I think we're in complete agreement then.
Huh. I thought I'd already added the routed ones.
Hmm.
Huh.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're past
Yeah, we're still.
150, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
kind of
Okay.
kind of moot really at that point.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Sir Baloney. It says he's worth 10. So
Right.
that's good.
Exactly.
155. What did the? I didn't add up the Prussians. I figured you could
Okay,
do
well,
that.
I counted us up at 134 with two routed, I think. So that's 136, which puts us in our second column. So that would mean both of us would be rolling in our second column.
Okay.
So we got that going for us, which is nice.
Now, do you
Um,
roll? Do you roll twice? Once for the 75
no,
column, and then one for. So
no,
just going
it's
straight to the 125 saved
exactly,
you the
yeah.
extra roll.
It's kind of weird. I don't even know that I fully understand the rationale behind it. And then remember also that if for whatever reason at the top of the next hour we hadn't made it to what is our next one? Oh God, our next one's only 150. We're nearly there.
Okay. So
um,
so what did you have for the Prussians?
I had 134 as the losses plus two
Okay.
routed, so 136. So that put
Okay.
us on the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
125 column. But again, boy, we can't afford to take very many casualties before we're in the third, fourth, whatever. So boy, that's not pretty at all. Yeah.
So is that like a game balance um
I think so.
mechanism
Yeah.
kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the columns are certainly in at least in part intended to represent the relative sizes of the armies, so that presumably, your first column would be indicative of some fractional loss, and the
Okay.
second column would be some additional fractional loss. I will tell you, from having counted, maybe it's because I've been playing Prague and stuff, but I mean, the Prussian army doesn't even fill a whole page.
Right.
It's not that many troops, and so it's unsurprising then that you're not going to have to hit very many strength point losses before you're starting to hit that fraction of the total.
Okay.
So that's where they came from. And yes, some of it is probably just purely game balance on top of that. Um,
Well,
I
it
think,
makes sense, yeah, because I didn't think about the fact that the Austrian army being larger means that as a percentage, um, when we
yeah,
get to
one loss to you isn't
150,
the same as one loss to me.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Well, cool. Um,
So, so yeah, there's that. Um, so then what we have, well, I mean, well, okay. Well, here I am playing too many games. Um,
Ben?
King Frederick's a +5,
correct. And Dawn, I think,
and
is a
Dawn is
+3.
a +3. So that means you may, should you so choose, and I don't really know that the rules are terribly specific about like who decides first. And I think probably if we were sitting across the table, we'd probably reveal simultaneously or something. Um, you may elect to use one of those three initiative points to add or to reduce your die roll by one.
Right.
It will mean that you've only got a +2 for initiative purposes for the rest of the hour.
Right.
And so that's something to consider. Obviously, this is one of the places where the Prussians or whoever has the higher initiative rating can do better, because we could, in theory, spend 3 points to get ourselves down to +2. +2 is the least that you can
So
move
you
yourself
can't go
down
any
to.
lower than +2.
Right. So if you had a leader, and sometimes it happens, who is a +2, well, then that's just not an option for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, they can't
The
do
other
anything.
thing is, of course, if during the course of the hour there is an army morale special result, where you roll double aught, then you can use any points you haven't already used, but obviously any points you've already used, you're stuck. You still only can get down to +2.
Right.
So,
So for me, if I were to use that 1 point that I have as a discretion here
yeah,
at the beginning of this hour to
that's
modify the
right.
die roll, then if something comes up later in this hour, as you
Then
said,
you
the
won't
army
have
one, then
anything
I'm
left.
in trouble.
Right.
While the
It also means, of
Prussians,
course, that
yeah.
all things held equal, we'd have an additional +1 in our comparison.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Well, since you have more to spend, why don't you tell me first what you're doing? I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
I love how you make that seem like, it's so reasonable.
Wow. You could write it down in Discord in a
Ask a
chat
couple
to
of
me.
questions before you
We
jump
could
in.
we could actually write it here in Vassal and then press 1, 2, 3, and
Oh, that would be
Sure.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe we should run to the coalition headquarters, or the Prussian headquarters, David, and have a quick chit chat. What do you say?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right. Well, they're figuring that all out. We'll say hello to William Arens, who's watching from beautiful Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Greetings, William. And Perry, it sounds like you're in the group with us here.
Yes, I am. Hi, guys. I was wondering, Eric, if I could ask a couple of questions on the rules before you jump in.
Sure. I'll do my best to answer.
I was going through the rules for VAR, the 3-3 rules.
Okay.
There are two things that didn't quite make sense to me. I didn't understand. March order and attack column.
Okay.
How does a march order differ from road order?
So
And is attack the standard formation for attack, or is that something different than just?
yeah, so attack column is one that you would use. So march order is if you're going cross country, the movement cost is less expensive, and you've got the whole unit stacked in the same hex. So if you take a look over here where I'm kind of flashing on the screen, I've got some units that are here in march order. They're kind of the center of the line, and they're facing towards a hex side, and their movement is less expensive, so it's good for moving around. Road order, I've got a couple of guys that are in road order down here. Road order, you can only have 4 increments per hex. So road order works for, if you're trying to get a ways, as a reinforcement coming in or something like that. The other advantage is that if the end of the turn arrives and you haven't moved the units that are in road order, they can still move. While your other activations, if basically you ran out of turn before you ran out of activations, those other ones that are not in road order are basically stuck. They didn't move. So being in road order is helpful in that regard, as well as you have sometimes less expensive movement going along. So usually in road order, you're not paying for going up and down slopes or anything like that. The road takes care of that.
Yeah, no, the truth is you can be in, road column even without being on a road. You don't, you don't really gain any benefits. You might as well be in march column unless you're on a road. But it does allow you to easily get on a road and do exactly all those things. You get facing changes for free as long as you're following the road. You can ignore terrain because the road is carrying you. But you're extremely fragile when you're in road column, and you're probably taking up more hexes than you usually would because you're just strung out along the road.
Yeah.
In fact, that's something really most games do pretty badly, is recognizing that, a World War II division is probably 12 miles long along a road. It's like the hexes are only three miles across, and yet somehow you still fit in that one. Really? How's that?
Yeah.
But,
Hey, so Perry's other question had to do with attack column.
yeah.
So we really haven't used that. I think
Right.
David might have used it once in Brandywine or something like that, but I don't
think
know
he
that
did.
we really used attack column. So I'm not as
Right.
familiar with that. So can you
Right.
tell us the difference between attack
Yeah.
column and
Yeah.
and
So
fighting in
one of the
line, or
things
what are the things?
about attack column is probably, more honestly like kind of the Napoleonic column. You are in pretty densely arrayed ranks, column of companies just stacked right on top of each other. The idea behind it is to provide just a huge impetus. Where it's useful is attacking, a walled town or a walled church or something like that, where you just need a lot of mass. You're going to make a big target. It's also a very cumbersome. Literally any facing changes require a disorder check. Any facing changes, right? And so, in other words, you kind of need to form it when you want to use it and smash it in there as hard and fast as you can. And I used it at Luthen just recently on my solo table. It may be the first time I've ever used it. There's a walled church in the middle of Luthen town. It's worth some victory points, so I thought, okay. And just I managed to have another command that was still fresh and was able to form up into this attack column while other units were up in the front bothering them. And then they went in and were able to take the town pretty easily. One of the things you'll note, though, is attack column isn't permitted in any of the War of the Austrian Succession games. Really, it was a very new idea to form into an attack column, and it was really something we only started seeing in the 7 Years' War. So you kind of need to look in the special rules to see if it's allowed or not in any given game.
Right. So Fontenoy, you're not going to have it.
Right.
But
Malvitz, Chatuzitz, you're not going to have it, but
Okay.
here you would.
Okay.
And in fact, it would have made sense, if you wanted to attack some of those walled villages, perhaps, if you had enough troops to make it worth your while. But it's definitely one of those things that it's very situational.
Okay.
Because they literally, every time you turn, you got to do a disorder check. I mean, it's not a practical way of moving units around.
So the idea
So-
is you get them in position, and then they go basically running headlong
just
in
go
at their
in,
target.
right.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
you're not maneuvering with them so much as you are.
Yeah, you're not
It's like
maneuvering,
battering
and you
ram.
and why are you doing it? Because you want to have a ton of troops to assault this walled fortification, right? You want, as soon as somebody falls, somebody comes up and joins his place in the line, which means you're a terribly big, tempting target for artillery. So again, you
Right.
wouldn't want to do this very often. So that's attack column, and that's part of the reason why you don't see a lot of it, but it is something that's out there.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know.
Uh,
Did
All
you have any
right.
other questions, Perry?
No, I think those, as I was kind of going through the rules in detail, those kind of jumped out as I didn't understand them. And then you guys
Yeah.
explained it. So
Good. Yeah, the other one that you see a lot less of in this system than you do in Labatai, and again, I think part of this is actually a function of just changes in how infantry behaved, is that you don't see as many squares here. In fact, there's some argument that really there just weren't squares at this time. I don't really know if that's true or not, but I've seen arguments that was just not really a thing that was done. But the game bar, the mechanics, give you a plus 40 to your disorder check if you're doing it as a reaction to charging cavalry. So, in other words, things that you do pretty routinely in Labatai is, well, I see cavalry charging, let me form square real
Right.
fast. Boy, you really have to think about it here because you're probably going to be disordered. That may still be better than being not disordered, but still in line.
Right.
But it's not a freebie the way that it often can be in La Bataille, where it's almost like obvious. Of course, I'm going to go into the square. Here, it's like, oh boy, okay, I guess I'll roll.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, some differences there, which I understand are supposed to be representative of changes in the actual trade craft of the era. So,
Cool.
So we went off and we talked, and we came up with a cunning plan.
Cunning plan. That's always our best ones there, Broderick.
It.
Or what
It
was
will
it?
remain
Baldric.
Baldric. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So-
No, it's cunning until I hit the enter key, of course.
Okay.
which
Well,
case
I'm going to
it
write
won't be-
down mine.
How are you going to write it down? I don't understand.
I'm going to put it here in the thing, and then we go 1, 2, 3, and we press our buttons.
Oh, okay. But you're not writing it.
No, I'm not. I'm typing it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
guess, if we're
You're
gonna be-
typing it, right.
We're going to be really particular
All right.
here. So, all right,
we
I'm
all-
ready.
well, Uno.
1, 2, 3. Here we
Dos.
go.
Tres. Okay, brilliant.
All right.
All right. So you spent the 1 point available to you.
Yep.
We spent 2 of the 3 that were available to us. So what that means is we'll have a +1 advantage from an initiative perspective, at least until something changes that.
Right.
And then you'll get a -1 DRM to this die roll. We'll get a -2 DRM. And David pointed out that not only are our columns closer together, but our columns are more punitive than yours. So we're really kind of counting on maybe an 8 or a 9 from you.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
How do you
see
feel
what we
about
can-
an 8 or maybe a 9?
I'm going to let either Rick or Perry roll. They've decided to help out on the Austrian side, so I want them to get an experience of what it's like to be Austrian. So rolling
rolling an
dice and
8
getting
or a
terrible
9.
results is usually the Austrian way.
Yeah, you'll definitely be part of the team if you can roll an 8 or a 9.
Yeah. So
ahead,
Rick,
Perry.
Perry, you want to
can
do
let
it?
Perry
Perry,
go.
go ahead, press the button. It's Vassal. What can you do? A
no,
92.
right,
Oh, I like
right,
that better.
right.
No, roll just 1 die, Perry.
Just one, the black
The single
button
die,
right next
yeah.
to it.
all the
A 7. So that drops down to a
Alright, so that's
6.
6.
So that's
and
going to
that
give us a
is
+3 then on all of our
+3.
checks.
Okay. All right. Making a note here. That's good.
Okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait. 7
What?
goes to 6. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. Yep. All right. Very good. And then we're going to get a -2. David, do you want to do the honors? Or
not
do we want to
really,
let Rick
but-
do it?
But I will. So let's see. 1, boom.
A 9.
Oh, jeez.
So yours is a 7 then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's no bueno por caca.
So that means you've got a
That's-
plus. A plus 7? Ooh.
I told you don't let me do that.
Oh, whatever. This thing went off the rails early. I'm not worried about it. All you did is provide the ravine for us to fall into.
All right.
All good.
So now that means then that all morale checks are modified.
Morale
by
checks
that?
only, and that's the important thing to remember. Only morale, not disorder. Sometimes it's easy to get crisscross. So disorder checks don't change a bit. Morale checks change by 7. So that means that morale checks for all purposes, including, rally attempts, are affected by 7. And yeah, 7 is not great. But oh well.
Now, and as I recall from, I think, Prague, so at the beginning of, say, the 6 o'clock turn, we'll go through all of this again.
That's right.
And presumably, each of us will be rolling because we'll have catastrophic losses. We'll be up to whatever the next thing is.
Probably, but not necessarily.
So then, depending on what we roll, then that's added to the 3 or the 7 that
exactly
we're
right.
okay.
That's
so that's how
exactly
it
right.
added, because
Yeah, and
we never hit whatever the magic number was in Prague. It was
exactly,
all
and
of
the
our
magic
fighting
number
was just
was it
30
was
or
it
something,
20?
or 20 or 30. It was something
I
pretty.
thought it was 20.
Yeah,
But I
maybe
mean,
it was 20. Yeah.
really, you need, and I think where we really missed out on Prague was not that 20 was such an unattainable number. It's just that it's going to require a certain number of rolls to get to 20. I mean, I mean, think about it. We'd have to roll lousy 3 times to get to 20, right? And we just got our Prussian attack off to a slow enough start that we weren't provoking these rolls as early as we should have. And then the truth is we just never rolled any army morale checks during the hours.
Yeah.
So again, subtlety here is if just by chance you stay below 200 before the next hour, at the top of the next hour, you don't have to roll again. You're done.
Oh, okay.
As far as the first and second columns are done, you don't have to roll on those again at the top of the hour.
Okay. So for the Austrians, for example, if we manage to avoid getting another, 40 some odd losses, and we're just under that 200 threshold, then we won't have to roll for anything.
Exactly.
That is
Okay.
correct.
And of course, it's going to be very difficult for the Prussians, who are almost to the 150 mark anyway, to avoid the 150 mark, but that's life. So it probably is moot. Now, the reason I bring this up is because there's 2 very similar mechanics, but really behave very differently. And that is the difference between the top of the hour army morale check that we've just discussed and the special result army morale check, which has completely different behavior, even though it's sounds like it's the same thing, but it isn't. And let's see if I can find it right here. It depends on the game. In each game, sometimes there's a little nuance in terms of difference there. And here I am looking for it. I don't know why I'm not finding it straight away. But go faster. So the special, come on. Okay. So a couple of differences. One of the differences is, first of all, you check and find out where are you currently.
Right.
And obviously, if that's 2 turns away from now, there's probably a lot of difference already, right? Wherever you are, you roll with a -1 automatic die roll. You don't have to pay for it. It's just free. There you get -1. Okay. You can, if you have any points left to spend, also add those. So we still have 1 left, so we could do another -1 to be a -2. That would be pretty helpful. The trick is that the check has to be made even if this current column has already been rolled for. So even if you haven't taken those extra 40 casualties, you're going to have to roll again on the second column, if that's the one you're still on.
Okay. Yeah, I would presume we'd roll on the same column our losses are at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only difference is, again, at the top of the next hour, if you hadn't gone over 200, you don't need to roll at all.
Okay.
Whereas in this case, yes, you'd have to roll, but you'd be getting the -1. And then the other wrinkle to that, and this is where it gets really weird, because if, let's say, you slip just past, and now you're on the 200 plus column,
Sure.
and you roll for it, and you get a -1, and you roll, it's considered to have used up the 200 column. So that when you get to the top of the hour, I've already rolled on that one. I don't need to roll on it again.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little asymmetric in that one can use up the other, but the other can't use up the one. And then, you know, each of them have slightly different rules about the DRMs. The other thing, and this is just, again, it varies by game, is that on the special event, if you roll a natural 0, your troops take fresh heart, and you get a -5 to whatever army morale level you have, but obviously not less than a 0.
Right.
And so that's just kind of a little added excitement there too, because it is possible to actually recover some of your up till now lost army morale.
There you go. Well,
anyway.
we'll have Rick roll that when it comes time, right, Rick?
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Oh,
Well, speaking of
goodness.
rolling, now that we've got that sorted
Yeah.
out, I think we can go to playing some
so.
action here. So,
Oh, you mean actually playing the game?
yeah.
Oh, I wasn't aware that was part of tonight's action, but all right, fair enough. Okay, so +1 for the good guys, and we'll see what we get. A bad roll.
Oh, this is a
That's
good
what we
one
get.
for the
No,
for
no,
us. Wow.
No.
Hey, we've got
listen
the
to this.
initiative. Yeah. So I'm going to try to do what I was unable to do last time, which is to get this stupid charge to happen over here on the other side of the map. So I think I'm going to activate Haddock.
Smoked haddock.
Smoke Haddock, indeed. And let me see if he has the initiative to do anything. Yeah, he's very, very initiative filled. So what do I want to do? I want to see if I can't cause
Do
some
we
more
need to do
havoc
the
here.
Jeopardy theme here?
Yeah, exactly. I do have a question. So say, for example, I've got this unit and this unit. They're both lined up to kind of charge into this hex.
Okay.
Can they do that? So like
No.
this? No. Okay. So they both have to either start stacked.
Yeah.
In order
the
to go.
thing. Exactly. The thing about charge movement is you always have to be moving into an empty hex.
Okay.
Always. And so there's no way to join back up.
Okay. All right.
So,
That's
yeah,
what
you
I
gotta
wanted
start
to get a
together.
sense of how
Yep.
that would work. So if I were to move this guy here, then that guy couldn't charge into that hex
Correct.
because it's already occupied by
Exactly
the other
so.
chap. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how you could make that work easily. But especially because
Yeah, because
whatever.
if this
Yeah.
guy charges here, then he's got to attack these two guys. Or no, he would have to attack that guy, and then this guy would have to attack that guy. Something like that, right? Or,
but again, oh yeah, because that guy here is part of M, so he's not
Right.
participating in this, right? Yeah, so in that case, he would have to attack him, so he'd be spreading things out.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, it kind of makes a certain degree of sense. I mean, your guys aren't going to want to be charging into the butts of the guys ahead of them. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it becomes a big mess. But that's what I wanted to get a sense of because I haven't done as many charges over here where we've got these small units and trying to
Right,
figure
and
out,
so
okay,
you're
how do
trying
I
to figure
get
out
them?
how do I get enough in one place to make it worth the trouble?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, well,
Well, first things first, you got some
I got some
disorder
disordered people,
to
yeah.
deal with. Yeah.
So we've got this chap over here. Let's roll for him. A 55. And is the modifier just -5 because he's disordered, or
I'm sorry, which one are we doing?
we're doing the
Are we
one that's
doing-
here?
Oh, yeah, he's just +5 for being shaken. That's
Okay.
all there is to it. He's not in an enemy zone of control, and that's the other one that usually
Okay. So being
comes into
shaken
play.
does not
No,
modify
doesn't
the
change that.
recovery.
Doesn't change the disorder aspect at all.
Okay. All right, so he's feeling better about life somewhat.
Now,
Now
the
this
other
guy
guy
here,
is going to be plus 15 because he is in an enemy zone of
okay,
control.
here we go. Well,
Okay, never mind.
there, he's feeling happy and perky.
Well, yeah, because he figures there's so few of them, the Grenadiers won't be able to hit him.
That's what he's banking on.
Mm-hmm.
He is hoping that no one sees him.
Okay, and I think you got some guys way down south that are
Yeah,
part
probably.
of
Let's
Haddock's
see.
outfit.
Um,
Yeah, just the one I can see here.
let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. So let's roll for him. A 99.
Whoa, I'm glad you're wasting those good die rolls.
Yeah,
That
this
is
is-
awesome.
All of my fire attacks suddenly
That's it.
disappeared.
That's it.
All right.
I think
yeah.
that may be it.
Yeah,
I don't
everybody else,
there's
I think,
anybody
is
else.
part of Mohawk.
Right. And I'm thinking everybody else is in command except for
The guy who's
that
way down
one
south.
or-
yeah. And then
or
this
Schlep.
guy that's over here, too, is out of command as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about him.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
all right. Well,
All right.
let's,
Magnificent.
yeah, so let's do some movement here. Now that we got that
Alright.
part taken care of. And I'm just going to reface this guy this way. So that's that. And then this guy over here is going to turn. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 puts him right there.
Okay.
All right. And then as far as charges go, I'm just going to try to do the 1 charge with this guy here, see if he can get his act together. And hopefully I'll roll well
Okay.
enough. 46. That might just be enough. Let's flip him
Might
over and
be.
see. 28.
Oh, yeah, he's actually pretty
one
good.
of my
Now,
better
remember,
guys.
and this is so easy not to remember. And by the way, what I usually do is I take an index card and I fold it in half and make a little tent out of it and write the Army morale numbers
+3
on each because
yes.
it's so easy to forget. And so it's just kind of a little visual reminder. So, yeah, so his number that he was after was 31.
Yep.
Not 28.
Yeah.
So,
So
easily
46 does it. So we're going to go ahead and get him hoofing forward. So he's going to go there, and that's the object of our assault.
Okay.
So as soon as I hit this hex, you need to retreat to a hex that's not in my zone of influence. And so that's David's got 2 leaders there, right? Holson. And
Yeah,
Zephyr.
yeah. So they just need to move somewhere. I don't remember because it doesn't happen very often. You say that like you read it in the rules.
I believe I did, although
That's
it's
fine.
fairly similar to just all the Labatai ones as well.
Sure.
And so that's so I could be thinking of that.
I'm just double checking. What happens when a leader No. Displaced to an adjacent hex not in an enemy zone of control or occupied by an enemy unit. If no such hex is available, the leader is eliminated. So clearly,
You got lots of options.
he could pop into either of those 2 with units in them, and then he's done. They don't need to worry about it.
Right.
Could actually move northeast, I
Yep.
guess, or I guess theoretically move to where the guns are, even though that seems kind of crazy. Just kind of depends on where you want to be at the end of the turn. The good news is, as long as you're not in a hex with an enemy unit, you can't get killed. Excuse me, not in a hex with a friendly unit, you can't get killed because he can't attack you. So if you chose to go northeast because maybe that was more convenient from whatever you were trying to do, there's nothing he can do about your guys there because he's going to go charging into the
Yeah.
into the guns anyway.
Yeah. So, all right. Bingo. There I
All
am.
right, there you go. All right, and boy, I don't. I mean, this is a weird thing because it's so uncommon for this circumstance to happen. I'm looking under defender reaction and I kind of really doubt. Oh no, I take it back. And I am on page 26 and page section 13.4, defender reaction, and the Lord God said. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
The Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
That's right. The units of a reacting infantry/artillery stack may make the same type of reaction, or one type of unit may react and the other type not react, so long as the final result is still a legal stack, but they may not make any facing and formation change. A reacting unit or stack must not be routed or disordered, not in an EZOC, must be able to trace LOS in the direction of the cavalry. Charging cavalry at the moment it attempts to react need not be in command. So I honestly didn't know, and that's why I looked, whether those guys actually could do a defender reaction. And apparently they can, and again, what they would do is they would, presumably in this case, turn to face the enemy. And then they would have to roll a disorder check with a +10 modifier because they spent 1 movement point turning. And then if they become disordered, well, they're disordered. And if they're not disordered, well, it doesn't matter. The close combat happens regardless.
Right.
So that looks...
the benefit would be that they wouldn't have the penalty for being attacked through the flank and all that jazz.
And they'd get a chance to do defensive fire.
Would they? If they
they don't
they
get to
wouldn't,
do
'cause they
defensive
do the
fire. I'm sorry.
reaction.
If they do a defender reaction, they don't defensive fire.
Yeah.
That's true. So it's a somewhat limited benefit, but still, it's better not to be attacked in the flank if you don't have to be. And there's really very little reason not to do it, in the sense that if you're disordered, I think you still have a strength of 1 anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's 1 halved and rounded. So I would say turn, face the enemy, and take your disorder check and see what happens. But that's just me.
Yep, I would say that too. So,
The other thing, of course, is you typically get really good effectiveness ratings on artillery units. So, and in this case,
yeah, a 92. So
wow, just think about all those great die rolls that Eric's not going to get.
Yep.
Just super. Yeah. Okay. All right. So they have turned to face the enemy, but not quite in time to fire. And so then it is time for the defender morale check.
okay.
So I think there's modifiers.
Not sure what modifiers there would be. There might be modifiers for being in the village.
Yeah, they're in the village, so that's going to help them. I think that
should
gives
be
them a plus
5?
something.
Probably 5. Don't know.
Yeah, minus
Have to look.
5, and then
Okay. All
being
right.
charged by cavalry. I don't know if that has an effect. Or
I don't
not.
know that does. Here I am looking. What do I see? Oh, please.
Non-cavalry attack by cavalry is a plus 10.
Is it really?
Yeah. If I'm looking at it correctly.
So this is type B.
Type B.
Non-cavalry attack by cavalry is plus 5. That's interesting. I don't know why I always forget that one. But yeah, that's what it says. All right. That's really weird. I forget that one all the time.
Well, David
I
rolled a
assume the
51,
army
so I don't think it
minus
matters.
7.
Yeah, and then you'd also have the minus 7.
Ah, very good. Yes, of course. So, so yeah, the village does give minus 5. The there's a +5 for the, cavalry attacking non-cavalry, and then there's the +7. Regardless, he was a 21, so 51 is more than enough. So, very
All right.
good. Yeah. Now, this is one of the ones that, again, rarely comes up. So here I am checking, because ordinarily in close combat, cavalry has no combat strength.
You mean
Because
artillery has no count?
I'm sorry,
They've
that
got a
is
strength point of 1.
yeah, I
The
have a
artillery
strength point
does.
of 1. But what I was trying to clarify in my mind is there's 2 of them there. So do they have together a strength point of 1, or do they each have a strength point of 1? I just don't know the answer, and that's why I'm looking. Because so often there's only one artillery unit in a hex, even when there is close combat. Okay, here we go. This is the bottom of page 28, 1311A, strength points artillery units that are stacked with attacking or defending infantry units are not counted. When defending artillery units are not stacked with infantry, each artillery unit has a strength point value of 1 per unit, regardless of size and current strength. So just kind of a little.
I thought they were just worth 1.
I would have told you that it could have gone either way. I honestly didn't know. That's why I went
If
and read
so,
it.
I would have thrown another cavalry unit in there.
Oh dear.
Oh, well.
Oh dear. Well, the fog of war.
Yep. Yeah,
Now,
I thought they were just
is that
between.
yeah. Is that the same as a combat value?
No, the combat value is a value that's used to modify the die roll in combat. The actual strength point value is what we're talking about for establishing the odds.
Okay.
So in this case, the odds would usually, well, according to one interpretation, it would have been 3 to 1, but according to this, each of them would actually count for 1, so it'd be 1.5 to 1 is in terms of the odds. Now, clearly, though, you still got some huge advantages because you charged, what, 2 hexes?
Yep, 2 hexes, and then
So you're going to have a +3. Of course, the artillery has a combat value of 0. So whatever his printed value is would be further added to that. So yeah, it's 1.5 to 1 with some pluses. Yeah, will it work? It might, but I think the upside is worth losing a couple of lousy hussars.
Well, we will see how it all pans out. So we've
Well,
got.
I mean, I say that hoping that you're going to lose all the lousy hussars.
Hey, it's the Austrian way. So I've got +2 for my combat value for the unit, 2 for
Okay,
having
he's a
charged.
+2.
So
That's right,
4.
for 2 hexes, right? And then +1 for
1
being
cavalry. So I
light
got
cavalry.
5.
Now, does the village offer anything?
The village does give you 1.
Oh, it
for
offers
the
1 to the
defense.
defender. Okay.
So
All right,
it'll be a net of +4 for me.
All right, 1.5 to 1 +4 is what it looks like.
Okay, here we go. Oh, not a good roll.
Oh, that's not so good. No.
So
that's
that's going to
-2?
be a -2 at 1.5 to 1. That's going to be an MM roll.
Oh, okay. All right. So the attacker rolls first on an MM.
Okay, here
So
we go.
you need a.
Uh-oh, special something.
Oh, I don't think there's any specials on MMs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's I mean, you go look because what does it say on the morale check summary? It's called a Type G morale check. It's an M close combat result, and there are no special results.
Yep.
Yeah,
So they are
basically
going to bust and
loses a strength point and runs.
run. Okay, well, next time
It was
we
worth
will
a try.
know. Well, we learned
Well,
that 2 artillery
yeah.
on their own are worth 2 points.
That's right.
Yeah,
but just to let you know how valuable that information is, I've been playing for years and was unaware of it. So, it's not going to come up that often in life.
All right. So now we've got to do our little zigzag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess.
Yeah, 6. 1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we're back here some way. Oh, we got to move the marker too. 1, 2,
One,
3,
two,
4,
three,
5,
four, 5,
6.
6. Yeah, I mean that's kind of yeah, exactly. And obviously, okay, all right. Well, good times. I guess it was worth a try. I mean, gee, if you got two batteries that could potentially cause a lot of trouble, and you got a shot at them, you got to take the shot.
Yep. All
Sometimes the
right.
dice have other plans, as they say. Okay, did you want to move this fella from the back?
Oh, yeah, the
You
one way
didn't.
back
You
there. Yeah,
didn't.
no, I
Yeah,
didn't. I'll
yeah. I
move him
mean, I
up.
don't.
So that's going to be 1,
'Cause that's another strength point I'd
2,
like to kill.
3, and there's
4.
4. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Oh, that was a good time.
Now, so here's my question with that guy who did
Okay.
his route move.
Yeah.
Are we going through like the empty hexes there? Are we doing the zigzag thing through units? How?
Yeah, boy, and that's the problem, right? So they've got the new rule that's been kind of
Because it doesn't make any
draft
sense if there's a clear path that they'd go over the top
for.
of those
Yeah,
guys.
well, I mean, I kind of,
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Unfortunately, the trouble is everybody can make good arguments for
Right.
any course of action, and
So
so
then
we're
what's
all.
the new rule? Because
So the do I have the new rule handy? Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna look for it from my dear friend Borchers.
oh, Paul is sending you stuff now.
Yeah, well, Matthew sent it to him, and when they heard that we were going to be playing Prague, they said, "Well, hey, if you've got a chance to use this, why don't you?" And I was
Right.
like, "Okay, sure. Let me see if I can find it." I remember John's eyes started rolling back into his head, but that's just kind of, it's fine. Come on. It really shouldn't be this far back. I'm struggling that maybe I've lost it. Let me look. Really? Wonder how else he might have sent it to me if he didn't send it that way. It made sense. I liked it. Oh, I think it's here. Here it is. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to share screen, I guess.
In Discord, okay.
In Discord, maybe that will help. I'm going to try zooming in a little bit so it's big enough for anybody else to read other than me. Okay, where's Discord? Share screen. Oh, right here. So you should see that lovely old typeface that they use.
Yep.
Okay. So it's 20.2G that is the new rule. So when a unit route retreats, the owning player chooses the destination hex. And the type of route determines the allowed destination hex, as well as who retreats the unit. And that's where it gets a little weird. So if the route is caused by close combat or fire combat, in other
Right.
words, like usually it's the first turn of a route, in other words,
Right.
then the destination hex must be away from the enemy unit that caused the route. That's the first priority.
Sure.
And therefore, if possible, every hex should increase the distance from that unit and the unit that caused the route. However, it's the opposing unit that actually routes the unit through each hex to its destination. That's the part that's weird. However, they have to do it according to the rule set out in C.
Okay.
So that was case A, which is, the normal case if I'm retreating away from something bad just happened to me.
Right.
So the owning player determines where the hex is. The other player is the one who gets to determine exactly which hex path they take to get there. So type B is, now that you've routed away, you're
Right.
back in the woods and you fail your rally attempt.
Right.
Now the destination hex must be in the direction of the routing unit's line of retreat.
Right.
In other words, south map edge.
Right.
In your case, right? Or if that's not possible, it's got to be in a direction that will, in as soon as possible, facilitate a later route. In other words, if you're behind the enemy, it's okay to run laterally if it's towards a hole that will let you run south. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. But in this case, the owning player routes the unit himself. So you would just do it in the direction. So C then describes what the rules have to be, what the priority must be. In choosing the hexes to route through, utilize the order of priorities 1, then 2, then 3. 1 would be any hex that doesn't force a loss of strength points and doesn't have a friendly unit. Of course, that's what you'd want most of the time, right?
Right.
Number 2 is a hex that wouldn't force a strength point loss, but does have a friendly unit, therefore causing a morale check. Or then last, one that would actually cause a loss of strength points. So how would this play? Let's just say that you had selected the exact hex you ended in.
Right. And
then David would say, all right, let's see, you were here, right? And so you need to move away from those awful guys.
Yep.
And you need to move in such a way that stays within those rules. And so you would attempt to go into a hex that's away from the enemy and doesn't cause
strength point loss.
Strength point loss and doesn't have any friendly units in it. Well, that one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, that one would not be attractive for 2 reasons, because it's both strength point loss and there's a friendly unit there.
Yeah.
So again, he'd have to select there probably. Now, my big question is, and this is something I'd have to talk about with Paul or Matthew, is that what's to prevent you just doing this? Well, the problem with that is, of course, you're never getting here. So in other words, you not only have to be getting 1 hex farther away from the enemy all the time, you've got to be getting 1 hex closer to this all the time. Otherwise, you'll never get there, right? So that would mean that's the logical place.
Right.
That's the next logical place. That's the next logical place. That's the next logical place, and so on.
Right.
And so in effect, you got exactly the retreat you'd hoped for.
Okay.
Because in this case, there was never anything that was going to compel you to have to run over one of your own guys in order to avoid a strength point loss, or to run over one of your own guys to avoid elimination.
Right.
And so it worked.
Okay.
Again, I think the only place where the rules are a little, maybe not as tight as they should be, is why couldn't he have run this way?
Well, I mean,
because it's not getting closer to there.
Somewhere else, right?
Absolutely. If you'd set the destination over here, then it would have absolutely been okay to go that way. But in this case, so I think what it means, though, is that you, as the retreating player, have to be very careful that you want to put it in a place where there is a path.
Yep.
But if there's any ambiguity in the path, it's possible that you're going to get stuck.
Right.
So you really kind of have to think about where you want to run to, because the other guy, within reason, gets to choose the exact hex path. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
In this case, though, it kind of gets you what seems logical to me, which is, let's just get the hell out of here and look for daylight and get gone until we hit the trees, and then it's like, okay.
Right. Okay.
So
good. All right. Well, that's it for
everybody.
That's it for Haddock then.
Okay. It's your die roll then, Eric.
It is. How exciting. Let's see what we get. 62. Oh, my goodness.
It's another roll for
one
the
for
bad
the
guys.
Austrians.
Oh, the nerve.
So, all right. Rick, what do you want to do? pick a command and do something exciting.
Holy smokes.
No pressure.
How about the leftmost command?
The leftmost command, way out here. Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you want to move? We've got 2 cavalry brigades out here. We've got Kolrath, and we've got who is it? I think Woolworth or Woolrath.
Well, should we have the artillery just continue to shoot as cavalry? So what command would that?
So this artillery here can't hit it because it's 3-pounders and it doesn't have the range to get there. We've got this gun that could fire, and we've got these Grenzers that we can fire, and we can use them. They're independent, so we can activate them and
Well, and remember, that's also true of really all the artillery.
Yeah.
They're all independents. And so there is kind of a thought there that you might want to fire all your artillery at the very first opportunity. You might very well not if you think the enemy's going to come closer and make a more interesting target. You may choose not to, but because they're independent, they can all activate with any command.
Right. So if you want to do something with the cavalry, then the question is, which cavalry units did you want to move? And, how do you want to approach that? Because, if these guys sally forth, and then he gets an activation, he can do something with these guys before we might be able to bring up somebody else, for example.
So my question would be, what about having these guys? Let me hit Alt. Just having them come up here just to kind of slot in there.
Yep. That's certainly a
react.
good idea. Yeah, so they could be in a position to do something in future turns. So if you want to do that, you can. What you would do is you would roll then for the initiative for Woolworth or Woolrath, and it's just a single die.
For him to place himself in command.
Yep. And a 5, and I don't know what his value is. We flip him over and see. He is a 5, so he's in command. So that means that we can move into zones of influence. We can quick march.
Rapid march if needed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Won't be needed based on what you're trying to do, but it's good policy just to kind of follow the procedure.
Yep. So go ahead and move those guys in any particular way you want to get them where you'd like them to be.
So how much would that be? 1?
So it costs
That's
1, and then if you want to
Turn.
them, that's going to be another point. So there's so they face a vertex. So there's 2.
That's 2.
3,
3, 4,
4, 5. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the guys with the lead. Does the leader move as well?
Yeah, you can move. So a lot of times you'll hold back and move the leader after you moved all the other units. So that way you're sure that everybody is in command when you're done.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just a good policy that I learned. And when we're going to be playing regs, we need to do
Reg
the same
30,
thing. Yeah, because it's the same idea.
So 1,
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. Perfect.
These last guys just gonna move forward 1, 2.
Yep.
Right. The other reason for using the leader last is if you were doing any rapid marching, there was a chance that you'd be disordered, and you'd rather have the leader stacked with anybody disordered. So it feels a little gamey, but the leader presumably can, he can move very quickly, so he can see that. Wait a minute, it looks like that squadron's getting a little messed up. Let me go address their problem and go run over there and tighten them up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then now what you would do is you'd move Woolrath to stack with one of the units potentially, or not. And he's got a range of 4 in his command. So as long as all of his guys are within 4 of him,
Yeah.
He's good.
Strictly speaking, they're all still in command now, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have
Yeah.
to move. But on the other hand, I mean, also not a whole lot of downside to having him stacked with one of the units.
Yeah, I'll just move them up with one of the units for now.
Okay.
Yeah, it
and
is
then you would-
actually kind of a funny thing about cavalry is if you're gonna charge, it's sometimes one of those things where you think, what am I gonna do with the leader, right? Because if I leave him with the guys who haven't charged, then the guy who charges is probably going to be out of command next turn. Or vice versa. If I go in with the charge, then anybody who didn't charge is out of command. So it's just, in this case, not a big deal
Yeah.
because you're probably not charging.
So, and then the last thing, what we should have done first was like fired the artillery, right? If we wanted to fire that artillery
that's true.
and
If
we
were
want to
gonna do
fire the
that, yeah.
Grenzers, we'd want to do
Right.
that before movement.
Right.
So that's something that's different from La Bataille, where usually we're moving and then we're firing. Here in Bar,
Right.
you fire and then you move. So
Okay.
this is a howitzer. The you'd want to if you're shooting one of those cavalry units out there,
9 hex
Yeah.
range.
yeah, and you want to go for whoever's the biggest fattest stack, so you get some more pluses. So at a range of 9, our howitzers are ×2, so it's 2
I
increments
assume
times
we'll
2.
keep shooting at the one that's already hurt.
Yeah, that would be a good one. So he's got 7 increments there.
So that's 14 in size terms, though. So that's the important part. Is since they're cavalry strength points, they're doubled in size, and so 14 is going to give you probably a plus 15 on the
15,
die
yeah.
roll, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is 1 to 3, but it's plus 15. So
Yeah.
an 85 or higher will get you something.
Yep. So then go
Okay.
ahead and roll the 2 dice and see what you get. 81.
Almost.
You were close. Close,
1
but
to
no
3.
cigar.
Not bad.
Yeah.
All right, and
So-
then we want to mark him as finished, so we
Right. So
remember.
if you left click on the counter, then you
Right
find the little
click.
finish one. Is it right click? Oh yeah, you're right. It's
right click.
Yeah. And then with the
Okay.
Grenzers, we generally speaking, we want to fire these guys before his artillery, gets a shot at us. So this guy is kind of infilating, and so between all of these, then we get a really nice shot on this poor little.
That's a
bit
good
of-
point, and because he's on the enfilade, this guy doesn't get the benefit of being in the
Sunken
Sunken
Road.
Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty big benefit right there. So what do we got? We got 6 times 5 is 30.
Right, and then the
And
other chap is
then
going to
2
add
times
in
2 is 4,
4.
so it's 34 altogether against 10.
Yep.
Oh, except it's really 36 because they're enfilading.
I thought we
well,
just shifted.
I can
the
never
odds,
remember
didn't
which
we?
rule we are, so we can just shift the odds.
Yeah, I thought
that's
we
fine.
just shifted the odds.
All right.
So it's going to be
So
3
it's
to
3 to
1
1,
shifted
so-
to 4 to 1.
Okay, 4 to 1,
And there's
and
no
no
pluses.
size. Yeah. That's the kind of roll I like to see.
So that is a miss.
Big fat
Yeah.
whiff.
Whiff.
Yeah.
World in flames.
And do we mark each of these as
Yep.
fired?
Yep. Mark them
Yeah,
as finished. Yeah.
any independent units you want to mark as fired, because otherwise you don't have any way of knowing if they've activated. So yeah, you want to get that last one? There you go. That's the spirit. Okay, and I guess the last guy, there's no point in activating him because he can't hit anybody anyway.
Correct.
All
So-
right. You've also got other guns if you feel like doing it.
Let's see. Over on
I
the
mean,
other
you
end
could
of
do
the
every
line.
gun you have, honestly.
Well, we could probably use this gun here to take a pot shot at that guy. 1, 2, 3 hexes.
Now we're talking.
That's a 3-pounder. So that's going to be 4 to 10. So that's another 1 to 3. You've only got
Nope. Oh, they're 3-pounders. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
I'm
just
sorry.
3-pounder.
I don't know why I misheard you. Okay, yeah. So 1 to 3.
I don't know. There's a plus. You've got
No, there's only
3,
4
6,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's 6. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, you're
there's
right.
no
Still no
pluses.
benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
I'd
yeah,
have to roll a one.
it'd have to be some kind of unholy special result
Yeah. So
to do anything of any
there's
use.
I don't
I
know that there's
wouldn't
any
bother.
point in doing it.
You
The
get
only other
another
ones that
chance.
might be interesting are over here, right, where we can take a shot at some of your infantry that's slowly making its way up.
Yeah, that stands to
Um,
reason.
Yeah. So
6
yeah, what can we
pounders
do?
at
6
3
pounders at 1, 2, 3
hexes.
hexes. That's a little bit better. It's a little bit more
Well, a lot
promising. It's
better.
times 7. So that's going to be 14.
A 1-to-1.
Yeah. So we'll take a shot. This guy will take a shot there. 14
Yep.
to 10. So 1-to-1. I don't think
Shouldn't
there's
be
any
any
pluses.
modifiers.
You've only got
Don't think
7
so.
increments there. So let's
Yep.
do better than Rick's roll. We
You
did better, but
did!
not
You
not well
did!
enough. So
Well played.
all right, so
Yeah.
we'll mark him as finished.
Little steps, little steps.
Little steps.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we'll hold off on anything else.
Once burns, twice shy.
Exactly. So, all right. And so then I think we flipped our guys over. So ours is done. So now we would go to David rolling for
I think it's
initiative.
David's roll.
Okay.
53. It's another one for the Austrians.
Another one for the bad guys.
Yeah. So what
At
do we
least
want
we're
to
not
do?
advancing the turn marker, but
Yeah.
it's still no bueno.
Well, could be worse. What's another good target? Anything else out there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see here. Well,
Oh, I saw that.
What? Just looking.
Oh, it was you.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not looking at anything. If anybody's spying, it's Perry. We'll blame him.
I mean, I've got the loss sheet here. I guess strictly, since I just had it out, I could go look and see what the numbers are there, but thought I wouldn't.
Admit to looking at a couple stacks.
That's okay. You're acquainting yourself with the map.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let's see. I'm just looking at my 12 pounders to see if I can get any shots on anything. I could beat up some more cavalry. Everything
Speaking
else
of shots, I noticed my whiskey glass was empty.
Yeah. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it 9 hexes or 10 hexes away? 10 hexes, yeah. So 10 hexes, 12 pounders, times 4. That's better than a poke in the eye. Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to activate Andlau's command out here.
Wow.
Yeah. We're waiting to see what we're going to do. So we're going to fire. We'll fire these 12 pounders with Fernstein. They can get a shot here on that chap.
All right.
And One of them's coming in on the flank, and the other one is coming in through the front. So I don't know how you want to handle that.
Well, yeah, I mean it is that is actually one of the things that doesn't get covered very well in that
Yeah.
shifted a column thing, right? Because um, it the original rule actually handles the some guys are hitting you in the flank and some guys aren't pretty well, but the just shift it one. What do you do if, like
So
in that last case, it's a little funny that this small unit from far away was able to shift it one, even while the large numbers of guys in front wasn't.
right.
It was just one of those things. I don't
So
really know
what
what the right
is
answer is.
so what's the other rule where you just add 6 to it or 3 to it or something? What was it?
No, you add one to your fire multiplier.
Ah,
So
okay.
what's your fire multiplier at that distance?
It's 4, so then it would be 5.
Okay. So it would just be 5 for the unit that's around the corner.
That's there, right? And then it would be regular.
Wait a
for that
minute.
one.
Actually, he's not anyway. It's all moot.
Who's not?
Firing from along this line is not in his flank. You've got to be past that. In other words, if you were literally here or here, you'd be firing into his flank. But if you're
Okay.
on that line, then it's considered to be in the front.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Okay, not to worry then.
So I got 4 times 4. I've got 16. 16
Okay,
to
all right.
10.
So
That's
one
gonna
and a
be
half to one. All right, very good.
And I
1.5
think
to
you've got,
1,
what,
and it's
10 increments there?
10, so that's probably plus 10,
Plus
or is
10.
it more
Okay.
than that?
So
Yeah.
here we go. 1.5
1.5 to 1
I think,
plus 10. All right.
That's going to be a 60.
Ooh, that's just enough, I
That's
think.
enough to get a hit and a morale check with
Okay.
a plus 7. And plus
Yep,
more because
with a
he's half
plus
dead.
7. Yeah, plus 17.
Well,
Not that it matters,
97.
but
He doesn't
yeah.
care.
No. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
There you go. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move now. So,
And you say it was Andlau? Who was
yeah,
it?
Andlau, who's over here. And so he's in
very
command
good.
because here's his corps leader and there's
Yeah.
Don. So
There's
I didn't have to
Don right
bother
there,
to roll
yeah.
for anything.
Yep, very good.
So I'm just going to have these guys are just going to prolong here. And, oh, come on, work with me.
I'm sorry, where were they before?
They were here, and so he's.
Oh, okay.
They fired
so
and
they're
they
just moving
prolonged.
forward one.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And then this guy, oh come on, he keeps jumping off of the hex. There we go. He's prolonging as well, so I'll mark them now as finished for the artillery.
That's crazy.
And then
For 12 pounders to be able to do both is crazy.
we're magical. Did you know that?
Yeah, well, I think the game designer was being extremely generous with the Austrians.
Yeah, probably. So coming out of hook costs 1.
1? That's right.
Okay. Or going into hook cost 1 as well, correct?
Either one cost you 1. That's right.
Okay. All right. So this guy's going to come out of hook. He's going to prolong, and then he's going to go back into hook. So basically, situation's just going to end up like that.
See? Okay, yeah. The artillery just prolongs, and then the other guy just comes out of hook, moves forward 1, goes back into hook. Yep, all done. Yep.
Okay.
Looks good.
Cool. All right. Now, these guys here, what do we want to do with them?
Abandon hope?
Yeah, we've already done that.
Ah, splendid.
Yeah. So, I think what I will do here is this guy will just come out of a 2-hex line.
Okay, which way is he going?
Yeah,
okay.
So he just retracts there.
That's right, yeah.
And then he can move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
this guy can come out of hook, I guess,
Sure.
and retract. So that cost 1, 2 to retract.
2, 3. So he's now up to 3 having retracted.
Okay, and then if he extends here, then that's
Be 4, 5.
4, 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it just gets a little messy
Hey,
here,
you can-
doesn't it?
You can throw Andlau on top of there and hope that's good enough to offset the chance of trouble. I mean, or Andlau would be there to help out anyway. So,
Right.
I mean, either way, you can make that work.
Oh, to do like a rapid march to get him to.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do a rapid march. And if you wanted to, you could move Andlau into the hex where they're going to end up, with an idea that he can modify the die roll on the rapid march, and he'd be there to undisorder them the next activation regardless. So, I mean, if you're willing to take the risk, then that would be a way to do it.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to get basically move my line over. You've moved all your people out of the way, so it's just like, okay, I've got this line that goes off into basically not anywhere that's terribly useful.
That's what we were hoping for. Yes.
Yeah. Well, mission accomplished.
Hey.
All right.
Do it. Do it. Just roll the dice.
All right. So we'll go ahead and take him out of hook.
Yeah,
and
there's
then,
1.
Yep. Then retract him. That's 2.
2, 3.
Why is it 2, 3? Oh, because
Well, it costs you 2 to retract.
Oh, it costs 2 to retract. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it costs you 1 plus the cost of the terrain you're moving into.
Okay.
So it'd be 1 to come out of hook, 2, 3 to now be in a single hex, 4, 5 to now be in 2 hexes, and you'll want to turn the arrow facing the other way. So
Right.
there's no question
Okay.
which unit it is. And so that would be a rapid march. If you were concerned about it, you still have a movement point to use in the rapid march, so you could go back into hook if you wanted to.
Over here on this side. Yeah.
If you wanted, yeah. I mean, just
Well, and
fine.
yeah, what I'm thinking too is I'll put this guy in hook too, because so it was 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to go
Yeah,
into
he
hook.
still had a movement point
Yeah.
left. So if you wanted
Okay.
to put him into hook, you
Yeah.
certainly could. Right.
All right, let's clone that.
All right. Yep.
Okay. All right, good.
All right.
And
And then, like I said, if you wanted to have already moved Andlau there just to be on the safe side, you could.
right. So they have to make now a
Indeed.
disorder check.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And he would modify it with whatever his, utility is.
They're
Doesn't
very
matter.
happy.
They're not. Okay, very good.
All right.
All
and so
right.
now with
You got
all these
2 other
others,
guys there who, you got these other guys, right?
so
yeah.
they can't march sideways unless they go into march column, right? And then they could march and they could go back to line, correct?
Yeah, although to be clear, there's nothing. Oh, yes, I take your meaning. That they could spend 4 movement points and just contract and expand. And that would be 4 movement points with the effect of having moved 1 hex to the right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
because you can contract to either side, right?
So they could contract
those guys
there
could
and then
contract
expand
to the
there.
right and then expand further to the right. That's 4 movement points, and they're done.
Okay. All right. So we'll just do that for the sake of
Now,
keeping things fun.
not so tidy for the guns because they can't do that.
Right.
We'll have to deal with them separately.
All right. But this guy then is going to do the same thing over here. Right. And let's just.
Yeah,
turn
you
his-
could do the exact same
Yep.
thing, right? Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
Cool.
And then, yeah, for the guns, it's a little bit more awkward because they can change facing, except they can't change facing because
Right,
they're
because they
stacked
have
with
to
somebody who
conform
already
with what
has
the
a
other guy's
facing.
doing. Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, no, you could, um, you could just prolong them backwards this turn and then prolong them back forward to the northeast next turn. That would be one way you could do it. You could form them up. They probably have 4 movement points, right?
Yeah, they've got 4 movement points.
So they could take 2 movement points, move
Limber.
2 hexes. Yeah, limber, move 2 hexes, and then just wait
Right.
for the next turn, and then go ahead and unlimber and move forward again, or
Right.
move forward and then unlimber again. So
So, or
obviously,
they
surprise,
could just
moving guns,
could
or
just
they could stay right where they
could
are.
prolong back,
Yes,
right, and then next turn they
absolutely.
could prolong there.
Prolong up that way. Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
All right. Well, that sounds. I'll just do that.
Close
Makes it
enough.
easier.
Okay,
Just
good
kind of
enough.
inch them
Good
along.
enough.
I'm just trying to
Yep.
get the hang of how all of this excitement works. Okay.
You
Cool.
bet.
So that takes care of beautiful Andlau.
All right, I'll flip him over, and there was much rejoicing.
Indeed. All right.
All right.
Rick, why don't you throw some dice? See what excitement you can muster. 47. All right. That means the Prussians get to do
Alright.
something.
All right, and what is our end turn number? Is it 11?
It's we got to get more than 11, so we have to get a 12 or
Okay.
better.
All right, very good. Just checking. In our Prague game, we're having to beat 12.
Oh, wow.
And so it can take a long time for the thing to start moving. So,
Right.
okay. All right. So that's an activation for the good guys. What a deal. So the question is what activations are more urgent than other activations? David, who's had an hour and a half to sit here and look, can undoubtedly tell me what he thinks.
No idea.
No idea. You're doing it wrong, David.
I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to extract myself out of the mess I've made over here. But okay, what else we got here?
That's good. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not good. Yeah, you kind of, it's a little bit of a mess. That's for sure.
Well, at least you got some guns that are facing the right way to shoot at my cavalry.
That's true. You got a nice flank shot there.
Yeah.
You can vaporize those guys if you're
Yeah.
not careful. That is true. And since they're in the same hex together, they can fire together.
Yep.
So that's even with our lousy fire multipliers, that might still be okay.
You just have to
What was
worry
that,
about the
1, 2,
ricochet
3?
bouncing into your cavalry behind.
If only there was.
Oh, so sad. I guess
There
they
is
hadn't
not.
learned how physics worked yet.
No, I just think it's not part of this rule set. What would that be? That would be
Well, the 12, you're at 4 hexes. so the 12
either
pounders
18 or
are-
22, I guess, depending on how we were doing that. So it's either 18 with a column shift or it's 22 without one. So it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'd be entertaining. See if you could just take a whack out of those guys. But, otherwise, what else have we got further along the way? I mean, obviously, we've got other units that could activate. I wouldn't call any of it really super pressing. Obviously, we've got 1 million guys in flight across the center.
You've got your cavalry out there. I don't know if you wanted to try to extract them from the firing.
Yeah,
line.
I would need to actually place the leader, so I could then do a voluntary route because the
Right.
leader got whacked last turn. Where is he? Yeah, here he is. KO.
Yep, KO.
Got whacked. and
KO'd.
so- yeah, he got KO'd exactly. So I mean, David could make the argument that our highest and best use is just to put KO back on the field and voluntary route some guys away.
Go for it.
Um,
You said you could make the argument. I don't. So that mean you don't have to.
well, it's mostly just not wanting to give away free strength point losses to the enemy by having yourself in an awkward place. So, I mean, I would make the argument that, yeah, it's not a bad idea to get those guys the hell out of Dodge. On the other hand, it has been distracting his artillery to have all these big horse flesh targets to shoot at, but I'm still not all that thrilled. So, okay. Well, then we'll just go ahead and do that. I will, let's see. I get A-type leader replacements, right?
I have no idea. Yeah, probably.
Think so. So that's the leader replacement there that I've just pulled out, and I'm going to go ahead and get KO out of the graveyard. So zombie KO will come back. And zombie KO, it's going to be, let's see, what is that? That's +4 to his, let's just take a look what he's got. So that's +4 to his -12. So he's now a -8. His initiative rating is -2 from his 7. So he's now a 5. And his combat value now it becomes a 0.
Oh, okay. So that's how that works. I was trying to figure out what all that meant.
Yeah, it's all modifiers to the leader who's been replaced.
Okay.
Now, in the later games, they all come with specific leaders.
Right.
So you just reach in and grab a leader and just throw him, unsight unseen, grab a leader and throw him on there. And he just has whatever his own attributes are. But this is
Right.
the old school way that they did it in the earlier games. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip him back over. I'm going to put him over there because that's not what's important is seeing him. And then I need to place him on one of the units from the command. And I'm just trying to put eyeballs on all of them. Okay, there are 4 of them left, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to flick this guy around. I'm going to put him here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the voluntary route, which is on page 38. It's section 19.10. And I'm just wanting to make sure, because I'm not necessarily asking the entire outfit to do a voluntary route, and I want to make sure that's not a problem. Before in a command movement segment, before any unit has moved, the owning player declares all those activated infantry cavalry that will voluntarily route instead of moving. Only activated units within the activated leader's command range may voluntarily route. Unit may voluntarily route regardless of its organization morale state, except it can't already be routed. That makes sense. If one unit in a stack voluntarily routes, the whole stack must route. You can't split.
Right.
Yeah, so infantry and cavalry units that voluntarily route perform their route retreat before any other activated unit. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not obliged to do a voluntary route
command,
for
yeah.
all the units. Yeah, so and for one thing, this guy can't voluntary route because he's not within the 4 hexes of this guy. So
Right.
that wouldn't even be an option for him in that case. But I wanted to make sure that this guy didn't have to.
Right.
And in this case, it appears he doesn't. So there we go. All right. So I will go ahead and do it for both of these guys here, though. And so I will do this guy first. And I will change that to a route marker. And so he's going to run back 6. Now, again, according to any of the rules you like, the truth is I determine where I'm going.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to go ahead and do 2, 4, 6. And there he is. This guy's going to have to roll morale check
right?
for having been overrun. That's
Why
a
wouldn't you
type.
have gone this direction?
Because those are grenadiers in supported line. I don't care. I also don't want to be any closer to those enemy guns than necessary. So actually, that was a conscious choice.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, because that's just an officer there.
I completely agree and completely understand. But
Okay.
again, why do I want to be any closer to these guns? It's just, I don't want to keep the command together. So right. So that's that. It's a type F. Type F means that the usual suspects of 50% SP losses, disordered and shaken. You have the usual effects. Supported line has the frequent effect of -10. So these guys are going to be rolling with a -10. So between Grenadiers and -10, I've
Plus
elected
seven.
+7. Very good.
Right.
Thank you. So it's really -3 on this one. And again, since they're Grenadiers, I'm just not worried about it. Yep, there they go. All right. And so then these guys are going to go 2, 4, 6, and they are also going to be routed right there like that. And I think I will just go ahead and elect to leave that guy where he is. So so he's not going to voluntary route. So the other guys can now all move to the extent that they want to. And yeah, let's see. I think I do want to. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and move 1, 2, 3, 4. And do I want to move those guys? Do I even bother moving those guys? What do I do with those guys? I do with those guys. Boy, if I had a better place for them to go, I guess I would, but screw it. I'll just leave them where they are. They're all in command for next turn. So that's going to be good enough for my purposes today. And I will flip him over as done. And that's that for me. And so I don't know who's next. Who's next?
Perry
Did
hasn't
Perry
rolled the
roll the
dice in a
last
while.
one?
Yeah.
Oh no, Perry's rolling. Okay.
The double dice?
Yep. Double
Please.
dice.
All right,
So
we
that's
finally
another
moved the
one
time
for the
marker.
Prussians.
Ooh, the time marker right there. Another one for the good guys. And now that I bought you an extra 3 or 4 minutes to look, David. I mean, if you want, I could just have, Monstein, shoot at these Grenzers a little bit more. I don't care. I mean,
Well,
eventually you're going to have to fight the dang battle. That's all I got to say.
I'm actually thinking for right moment, activating. Who is this guy?
You got a bunch of infantry out there. What, Braunschweig and
Braunschweig and Holsten.
Holsten? Okay.
Holsten, the poor schlep who attacked the village early on in the battle.
Yep.
Yeah, the only trouble is those cavalry can't charge this turn.
True.
His cavalry, the ones down here,
they're out of command,
and mostly because of that hussar charge, because they were in command.
No, they weren't.
Oh no, they weren't. They weren't. They were out of command anyway.
They were
Never
one
mind.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
I mean, obviously they can move. They just can't charge.
which one do I do?
So Rick and Perry, you'll notice the buttons across and tabs and stuff across the top of it. There's one there that says end turn. Don't click on that until the end of the turn. If you do,
Exactly.
it will flip all the units back. It'll take all the finish markers off, everything else. So if you want to see where the turn is,
Yeah.
you're going to
Um,
look at the little chart next to it, which shows you the turn
Turn
track.
record
Yeah,
track.
turn record track.
Michael, you want to go to
Yeah.
HQ just a sec?
Sure, of course, by all
Okay.
means. Be
Now I
my
did
pleasure.
that before you guys even started on accident.
Yeah, I noticed that. And of course,
I was
since
like,
nothing had
oh,
happened
not
yet,
bad.
it didn't matter. But yeah, we usually
Yeah.
save it until the very end, once all the activations are done, or once we've hit the end of the turn, and
Yeah,
we've
makes total
rolled for all
sense.
recovery and everything else. So I've hit it on more than a few occasions accidentally, because
Well, I
it's
was
right
trying to
next
find.
to it's right next to the other chart. They should have put it at the very end. They should have put it further
Right.
over to the right from a design point, because you're thinking, oh, well, how close to the end of the turn are we? Oh, here's this button that says end turn. It's just like, no,
Right.
that's not it.
Yeah, I was
So
trying to find a button to find the morale thing that you guys were talking about, the chart. But
oh
I
yeah,
assumed it's not in there after I looked.
yeah. So if you look, they've yes. So if you look at next to, there's something called Austrian loss sheet, and it's
Okay.
next to this. It's just to the left of the 6-6 counter there for the Prussians. It's
Yep.
going to bring up then your losses, and then I think on the third page, it's now showing your current losses and then what the die roll stuff is for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Although I'm
Great.
not sure how up to date this is. It could be reflecting the stuff that came in the box, and we're using charts that came out that may have been modified in one way or the other. That because this originally came out in the early '90s, so this is the original or the oldest game in the series, and so they have on there's a website where you can download all the scenario rules and charts and everything else for the for all the games, and they kind of bring it up to date with the third edition rules.
Nice. Okay.
So that's what we're using. So I'm not looking at the chart that's built into the module for the for movement and fire and all that jazz. I'm using this one that I downloaded and printed from the bar, bar website kind of thing. And if you go to the consim page for Battles of the Age of Reason, they've got a link to this. Basically, it's a bunch of Google Docs that you can then download, and it's a great little resource. And so then if you're playing on Vassal, then you basically have everything you need to play the game and the scenarios and everything else, because it's got the scenario rules and the charts and everything else all
Right.
kind of up to date for the system. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's
I think I
that's,
might have that side. I'll have to look.
yeah. And then they've got the same chart for the Prussians, just a little further to the right, and then it's got the army loss charts and everything else. So that's where you would then keep track of your losses, and then when you get to a certain point, then it triggers, at the top of the hour, and it's kind of the equivalent in La Bataille of your core being on a level. But it's the whole army instead of a single corps or a single division or a wing or whatever that you might have with La Bataille. But it functions the same way, where there's a morale modifier until you come off the level, or you go onto a worse one.
Right.
So, Perry, did you
Okay.
have any questions? Presuming you're still there, Perry.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have any
Can
questions?
no, I don't. Not at the moment.
Okay.
So right now, I mean, what you were playing out, I was following, so I
Okay.
didn't have any questions on those rules.
All right. Well, that's convenient. So,
So yeah, if you don't mind, I'll just take the left couple cavalry units, and that's it. I'll just slowly inch forward.
yeah, and that's fine. And then you can kind of see what he does. So over here on the left, we've got these are skirmish cavalry. What's nice about them is they can retreat from everything. So he can't, if he tries to charge, they stop his charge, and then they can just retreat. And so you do have to make a disorder check, but or a retreat before combat. And if they fail, they're shaken. But they kind of act as a buffer. So he realized that as long as they're there, he can't really attack me with impunity. The only sort of issue is that they're part of a different command. They're part of Beck's command. So Beck is over here with all of this, these Grenzers that are kind of here in the center.
Mhm.
And so the skirmish cavalry activate when Beck is activated. So when that happens, I'll let you know, so then you can move them where you want to. But I kind of put them out there as a screen to prevent him from like charging my stuff. Or we had a little bit of melee over there early on, and then those cavalry got there, and then he couldn't really exploit it because the skirmishers just kind of acted as a buffer. So what you could do is, depending on what he decides to do, you could then maybe gang up, because you do have a wing leader over here. Stompash is the wing leader for these two cavalry brigades out on this side. So if we were to get a wing activation, you'd have to roll to see if Stompash can put himself in initiative, and he's got a rating of a 7. So you'd basically have to roll a 7 or less. He puts himself in command, and then you can move both of those brigades simultaneously. And then if you did that, then what would be good is the skirmish cavalry, you put them somewhere to kind of prevent his other cavalry from coming to help, or they get in a position where they're going to stop him from counterattacking you, etc. So they can be used, in a couple of different methods for purposes. But I mean, they're kind of nice. And the skirmishers, so far, with the exception of a couple of the die rolls, normally they're doing a fair job picking off the enemy.
Picking off the enemy.
We
All right.
thought about picking off our friends, but we realized that picking off the enemy paid better.
Well, this happens on more than a few occasions. I've been doing play testing of Eggmole with Jim, and so they'll be, in Premier, you're doing cavalry charges, and then and counter charges and things like that, and then you're putting like a tired or exhausted marker on, and the color of it indicates whether it happened during the French turn or the Allied turn.
Oh, right.
And so there'll be times that, it'll be one of his cavalry units that has a red tired marker or a red exhausted marker on it, because the melee happened during, the Allied phase.
The Allied
and
phase,
he'll roll stuff up to fire on it, and vice versa. I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. I'm going to roll these guys up. And then I would go, oh, that's my own unit. You lift up the exhausted
Oh,
marker, and
yeah.
you're like, oh crap,
Yeah,
that's
the
my
thing
own guy.
under it
Yeah.
is not what is indicated by the thing on
Exactly.
top.
You know,
Really.
I'm like,
That's
oh,
good.
it's a
That's
blue
good.
marker. It's got to be French. Oh no, it's
Well, you
not.
know what? As many crazy uniforms as these regiments all had, it's no surprise that you're rolling up against friendly units and thinking they're the enemy.
Well,
I
and
mean,
I've got
you
this.
got to buy a program when you
Yeah.
reach the stadium.
I've got this new Spanish game it's actually a Spanish magazine published it, and it's the Battle of Berlin, and oh my God, trying to keep track of which uniform is which. The Spanish army's everybody's got a different color jacket practically, and
Nice.
and some of the French are wearing blue, but it's like, oh my gosh, trying to keep track of who's who is difficult. So
That's funny.
yeah. All right, did you guys figure out who you're activating and what you're going to do?
Kata
Yeah.
is activating.
Kata is
All
activating.
right.
And this artillery here.
Okay.
And the artillery, because the artillery had something they wanted to say.
All right. So I think you said it's a 2-to-1 shot.
All right. Well, that first is disorders, right?
Yeah, you've got one
Yeah,
shot.
well,
that's disordered.
first is establishing who's in command and who's not in command. It looks like a lot of the guys in the back are not going to be in command.
Yeah,
'Cause
basically.
Kata's up
Yeah,
here.
those are
So
not in
really,
command.
basically, the whole back row is not in command. So just having established that, in strict terms, you'd put markers on them, but it's a small activation. I wouldn't worry about it. So now it's disorder recovery. So yeah, we'll go ahead and roll for all three of those because I think all of those are katas, aren't they?
This guy's.
Oh, and then there's one up front as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll roll for the one up front here.
Very good.
He's finally
Whoa!
feeling better.
Boy, and we know what his number is, so that was gratuitous. All right.
We'll go for that one. Oh, and he's
There
good.
you go. There's all my fire rolls.
No.
Rick, that's how you roll.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
just shaking now. Let's see. Which is 2
Go.
decreases.
I'm just saving it to an important one. That's
There
all.
you go. There you go.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeesh.
Why can't I roll those? Oh, I guess.
Yeah, but these are all odd numbers. It's good you're getting them out of your system.
There
It's
you
good.
go.
You want to save those for that 2-to-1 fire combat. You want a nice an even number. 98. How do you feel about 98?
There you go.
And last one here.
Just the return to the mean there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Okay.
to the mean. Okay. So that's disorder. Now it's fire, right?
Yep.
Yep, now it's fire. So it is
So
2-to-1 plus
2-to-1
10
plus 10.
for size.
Yep.
All right. 2-1 plus 10. Again, 98. 36.
Not a-
40.
Hey! I don't think that's
That's
enough
not
for
enough.
anything.
That's a 46. That's a nothing.
Jingo.
So
Dang it.
Dag nabbit.
that's all right. We've all been there.
Yeah. Some more recently
You
than
think it's a
others.
morale
but-
check, right? Oh, no.
Yeah, no. No, it's a personal morale check for you, maybe, but not in the game terms. So, all right, movement time now.
Movement time.
Movement.
Now,
Let me go check on this hole in my glass.
got a hole in the glass.
Spoonhead. You doing, noodlehead?
1, 3, 4, 5. No, that's not going to do that.
Yeah, personal morale checks. I'm playing in Tar Wars, the Marines.
Right.
The squad leader,
Right.
and you just are losing squads left and right on your beach assault. It's like,
Mm.
if you can get through that morale, your own personal morale, you're gonna be good. But most people don't. They're like, okay, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah. No, I've been
But
there.
it's
I've been
okay.
there.
Eric, when is Egg Bowl going to be available?
Egg Mole is, they're probably going to have it start taking orders in August, and then they'll probably be shipping it there in late September or October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's typically been their schedule, but with, I think, Egg Mole, they had been putting out a game every year for quite a while, and then Heilsberg, I think, took 2 years for them to get out, and then this one is kind of going to be 2 years for them to get out. So they've slowed down slightly with their production, and part of it was, particularly with Heilsberg, it was right there after the pandemic, and trying to get supplies and paper and all that jazz was problematic. So.
What about I'm gonna mispronounce it. WAV?
WAV, yeah. So that's actually
That finally shipped yet, or
it has not shipped yet. Ed's got
Okay.
the maps done. I think he's getting the boxes taken care of. I'd seen something where he got the materials for that, so that's in process. He's getting the scenario workbook and everything like that formatted, and so probably here sometime, by this, sometime midsummer, perhaps they'll have it ready to go. But he's been taking orders for that since maybe December.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if it brings him to ConSim. That'd be cool.
So he's not coming out to ConSim.
Oh,
But you did see there at Gettysburg, he had the production, the sort of
looked great.
pre-production map, and he
Yes,
sent
it's
me a copy of the production map, the one that's going to be shipped, and so it's real nice looking, and so that's what's up. I don't know.
Did we win yet?
I think David finished his movement.
No,
did?
no, I'm still trying to figure
I
out
don't
the
think
way.
that's true.
Oh, what? Have you moved anything, David?
Not unless
Oh,
my
yeah,
vassal is
I'm still
locked up.
I've got all kinds of different combination I'm trying to figure out here to get the
He's got
best
he's
thing.
got
Whatever.
combinations. He's got
Combination.
combinations and he's got permutations. Okay, I'm just telling
Okay.
you, he's got a lot going on.
Conjunction, junction.
Yeah.
What's your function?
That is it.
We need to put up the clock, the chess clock here.
Yep, we do. So, but
I don't know. We just need to assign David some homework.
all right.
We need a 3-page essay describing what you're going to do with your cavalry this next turn.
All right.
MLA format, please.
That one's going to move. Oh God, do I want to do that? All right, let me start back here at the back.
What?
Sure,
Why
that's
are you
easy.
always so much more aggressive when you're playing against me, David?
Never. All right, so I'll start with this guy here. So he's in column, so that's 1/2. 1/2.
No.
No, he's got to turn. He's got to change his
No.
facing, right? So that's
Yes.
half.
I thought those all three were your front hexes.
No, they're not for purposes of movement.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's got to move
You
like a
gotta-
torpedo.
You got to move into the hex directly in front of you.
And that's with all units.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, if they're facing a vertex,
1/2.
they could go either
To
way.
either side of
Yeah.
it, yeah. Yeah, so he's at 1-2 now, yeah.
And then going down the slope is what, like a +1/2 or
1/2
something, maybe?
column.
Yeah, it'd cost him another 1 to be at the bottom. But he's of course only able to move 4.
Yeah.
Right. So he's gonna move into that square.
He can't move
So
into he can't move into the sunken road, but yeah, he could get there.
Uh,
And that's cost
does it only
changing
cost him
formation.
one to go into line?
Oh, and what direction? This is a good one.
Yeah, but I don't think. Well, I'm not sure. Here I am
You got to
looking.
look at the chart. So this is the
You
other
gotta
guy
look.
is changing, getting stuff to change. This is what, cavalry? So
Where did my charts go? My
X.
kingdom for a chart.
Is it the same for the infantry as the cavalry or not?
No, you use the bottom chart for the cavalry.
Okay. So he's
No matter
facing-
how large the unit is, you always use the bottom chart for the cavalry. And this would be turning to his right.
So I
No,
see it
so-
as 2, costing 2 for the
It
Prussians.
is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's to the left?
1.
All right. So, all right, I'm gonna move forward all right. So, where did he start?
He started where the
Where the
spire
cross is.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's right.
So you could
So, one
turn him and
half.
put him into 2.
So
3,
now if
4.
I go to the right or to the left,
If you go to left, it'll be 1. So
One.
that's now 1.5,
that's
2.5. And
No, he's
that's-
in line now, right? Oh, yeah. And then, but
yeah,
now
no,
going down
the
here
trouble is
costs-
it's going down the slope
Oh.
would actually cost you another one. So I don't think there's any way to get to the bottom of that slope in line because that's 4.5 to get there.
yeah, and he's out of command. He can't.
Half,
rapid march.
1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Yeah, so you can't get that far. Right. And then the 2 leaders are back there in what, 36, 27?
Yeah.
Weren't they right next to the guns?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know that there was a better way to do that. You just didn't have very many movement points.
And the shaken ones can move too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
They're
they've
gonna
got
be half,
actually
but they can move.
the normal movement, which would in this case be half for being out of command. Yeah. One, 1.5, 2, and you can move him up and make him 3 and put him under the other guy just to add an extra strength point, but not much else.
Yep.
Yep. There you go. Very good. All right. And those poor schleps who couldn't make their disorder check are also able to move at half strength or half speed, rather.
Right. So
the
even though
fact
they're
that
out of
they're-
command and they're disordered, you don't
It's
quarter
not
them. You
additive,
just have them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's 1, 2.
Yeah,
And then unfortunately you got that road in front of you. Yeah, that's 3.
that's fine for that. All right.
Okay. All right. Very good. Who else you got?
Okay.
I know.
Let's see. Which way? Going to want him. this would be 1, 2, 3,
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Is there anybody that hasn't moved that wants to move?
All ashore that's going ashore.
So if he changes facing, that would,
Just gonna get upcharged,
right.
which probably wouldn't be great. Not necessarily, because with close combat, you literally don't ever know if it's great. But
Yeah, as we've experienced on more than a few
Yeah.
occasions.
that's right, where it's just like, wow, that wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the funny part about it is, and for one thing, well, of course, he's got two guys that got upcharge him, which is actually makes the odds a lot less attractive,
Um,
especially because Nadazdi's stacked with some of them, so that's really unappealing.
Right.
is now
So-
when I would move Kata himself if I want to get to where
Yeah,
I
you
want.
need to move him before any charge movement would start. That's right. Yeah.
So,
And try to somehow find yourself in the middle of where all your guys are.
that's what so which is kind of like this spot.
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nice thing is though, it's like all these guys have got the ring of power. You know, nobody can see you. You can just walk out in the middle of the field. Your guys can charge right through you, no problem, right? The enemy countercharge, well, that might be a problem, but they can't shoot you, so
Well,
it's
they're
awesome.
not really charging until they get within usually the last 50
Oh, I
yards,
know.
kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. All right. Speaking of charging,
I'll just there may be one other little adjustment here.
oh, be one more.
Yeah, let's do that.
Did you want to move those 6-pounders?
I really can't. Where I
Por qué
want-
no? Because you could activate those grenadiers right now. They're independents. You can do anything you want with them.
Mm, are they independent? I thought they
yeah.
were a part.
No,
of,
they're, yeah.
No,
So
No,
the
there's nothing on the right
grenadiers-
side of
yeah.
the. There's nothing on the right side of the infantry
Ah,
indicator.
Okay, yeah.
So-
Then I'll now.
Hey, you don't have to. I'm just saying you can.
Right.
That's all.
And so where do I want them? And
In fact, you know, if you really wanted to be, you know, loosey goosey with the time space continuum, you could have activated the ones in the walled city and shoot at the walled farm and shoot at the shaken like 100 hussars that are still left outside the walls. The ones wondering about their choices in life.
I could have, yes, couldn't I have?
But, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Who's that Esterhazy guy, and why did we decide to take a job with him? What were we thinking?
Hey, they were just a bunch of farmers on their plow horses. Actually,
Seemed like a
probably
good
not. I
idea.
think hussars
Probably not.
probably
All right.
slightly better horsemen.
So
Mhm.
we did determine that if I move both the artillery units into this square, that this unit was they couldn't do that with and the infantry stay there, right?
Well, you
No,
can't prolong there
no.
anyway because it's not clear terrain.
Oh, there's no requirement for it to be clear terrain to prolong.
I thought there was.
Oh, well,
I think that's
welcome to
what's
go
that
find your.
Labatine.
Is it a
You're
Labatine
welcome
thing?
to go find the rule.
Yeah.
What is usually the case is that there is a specific description of in the special rules that may talk about specific artillery or specific movement you can't do. The general rule is that movement by prolong is not permitted into hexes from which the artillery would be prohibited by normal movement. But obviously that wouldn't be the case here. You could obviously move into the village hex. But like sometimes, for example, you will find, and I don't remember which game it is, that you can't prolong across a steep slope. Okay, that's fair, right? But that would have to be a special rule in the game rules itself in order to clarify that. Otherwise, the game system itself doesn't care. So yes, you certainly can. We were worried about stacking. I think the stacking was okay anyway, but we can certainly revisit it.
Well, you could
Uh,
have. I think you could have one of the batteries in there, but you couldn't have both. I think is what
Well,
we looked
that's
at.
that's
Because
that's
the
what we
village
need to
has
reestablish. Do.
village has a stacking limit of 12.
The village has a stacking limit of 12 line infantry or 6 artillery. And that was where we got into the argument
Right.
because the problem is how do you relate those to one another?
Well, and it was very
And
clear that it said that the artillery counts as multiplied by whatever when it's stacked with infantry. It's worth 4, whatever it was, or in road column or whatnot. So as I recall, one of them could advance there, but not both.
I'm looking. Yeah, that is what it says. And so well, so it would still
So you could have
okay.
yeah. So
Yes, yeah.
each point is
This
worth 4. So you could have you've got 2 strength points. So you have basically 8 for stacking, and then you move the guy in there, and you've got 3 infantry. So you're at 11. You're fine.
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, I have objected to Matthew because it's nonsensical. I could have 12 infantry, or I could have 6 cavalry or 6 artillery, but I can't have 3 artillery and 6 infantry in the same hex.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense. It's nonsensical. If the ratio between the strength and the stacking limits is 2-to-1, then why am I counting artillery as 4? It just I think his answer was a non-answer answer. Meaning,
Yeah.
don't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't want to go change the rule. So it is the rule, but it offends me. So all right. So I guess you can only move 1 in anyway. All right, fine. Okay, I think we're having some charging, and notice that the charging is all happening in full view of the shaken fellows in an attempt to embarrass them into getting back in the act.
That's it. They're going to say, "Come
That's
on."
it. That's it.
All right.
Today,
Well, I guess
all
you got to roll to see if they're going to do anything. So
Yeah, roll your dice, move your mice.
Yeah.
+7.
This one here.
Starting at the top. From the top.
All right.
All
He's
right.
going in.
Another one.
Oh, he's going in.
And another one.
And
All
they're going
right,
in. They're all going in.
everybody,
It's a party
everybody gets a
everywhere.
party. That's right.
All right. So we're going to start with this guy right here.
Okay.
He's going to go bump, bump.
Okay, hang on a second. I've got a choice to see if I can.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, sure, I'll see if I can't opportunity or reaction charge. Hey, I do.
Looks like it.
So we
All
spur
right, there you
forward.
go.
All right. And this guy's going to go there, there. And this guy's going to go there, there.
Okay,
and
hang
there.
on. So now, oh, I can't react because I'm shaken.
Why did you go there anyway? You could have easily gone to 38-26 and stayed outside of anybody's range of attacking.
Oh. You mean here, yeah, here.
That's right. And then there.
And then there, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know that I could have reacted anyway, could I? Because it's
No,
more than 3
I was
hexes.
actually more worried about this guy here.
Oh.
Can I react?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you went here, he could have
Yeah,
reacted.
that was the
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
He did the first time, and
Okay.
I said
Yeah.
there was no reason to do it, so don't.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy there.
No
yeah.
worries.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Was there a question from the gallery?
No. You guys got it.
Yep.
Ah, brilliant.
Cool.
Very good. Okay. Right. Well, that's pretty great, I'd say, all the way around. So then the only question is, in what order would we like to do this?
Actually, I think I would like to do this one first.
I agree.
All right. So
Okay, well, I already passed because I did my opportunity
Correct.
charge.
That's right. Since you managed to get the defender charge there, so now it's really just time to go straight on into the calculating of the things. And it's gonna be 4-1, I guess.
yeah.
Raw odds.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on. Oh, no, never mind, actually. It is still 4-1. And what is your printed combat value, David? 4?
Let's see. We got +5.
So you did what?
Or
3
+4.
hexes and 2 hexes? For the two different hexes of yours?
1, 2, or 2. No, they're both at 2 hexes.
No, they
No.
were here. So this guy, so this guy went 1, 2, and this guy went 1, 2, right? Because they were right in a line there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So each of them did 2. Okay. Good enough.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So what's that? 4,
That gives you
5,
6.
6, 7.
Right. And I went forward 1, so that gives me +1. So I'm at 3 +1 for being light cavalry. That's 4. And then I'm being attacked across the slope from somebody, so I don't know. If that
Yeah.
helps
So
me some
actually,
way.
so what that means is this one is 7 and this one is 5 for an average of 6.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what was your number was 4?
So I am 4. Yep.
Okay, all right. So it's 4-1 plus 2 then, I believe, is what we've come up with.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're
All
looking
right.
for
4-1
a
plus
0
2.
or a 91.
Now we're looking for 19.
Oh,
Close
that's still
enough.
good
4, 5, 6.
4-1. That's going to be an
4-1.
8, right?
Yep, and a 3
Huh?
or 6. It's only gonna be
No,
6,
it's plus 2, so it's going to be a
Oh,
6.
It's going to be a 6. Okay. So
Yeah, 4-1.
you lose 1, and I lose 3, and I'm routed. Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and increase this. Okay. All right, and let's find a little route marker. Although I think he's probably going to cease to exist, right? Because
No, because in preference to losing a strength point, he's going to run over a friendly unit, and
right,
he
so
can
he'd go over that guy, right? So
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6, like
and
that.
either one of those,
Yeah.
sure, yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right.
So then it would be a morale check for the
Yep.
spleen hussars.
We're used to that. Let's find a.
Looks like the word spleen. Splenye.
Our spleen. So
We'll
who
see.
did you put the loss on? You've got to put it on, I guess, one of the guys that doesn't have any losses on him yet.
One of the eights,
I
yeah.
put it on that guy.
Yeah, he put it
Okay.
on the one that's stacked with the other guy.
Well, but wouldn't you roll for pursuit before we do anything?
Well, no, you retreat first.
Right, but if he pursues me and I have no units left, did I really retreat?
Oh, wow.
Right, because I
How
only
many
have one
hands are you
increment
using-
left.
How many hands are you using to clap in the woods?
Exactly.
So actually, no, it wouldn't matter because there's no circumstance it's going to cause the routed unit to lose another increment.
Why wouldn't
Oh, I'm sorry. I take your meaning. You're saying
because
the
he
pursuit
could
itself
advance
cause
he
it.
could advance
Yeah.
one more hex, right? And then they would be gone.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, but I don't think that the rules actually consider that possibility. I think it's not done in that sort of order. I don't mind looking because that's what I do for a living is
They do
look
have
up.
a specific order in these rules, don't they?
They do, and they do that very much. So let's see. So the retreat, close combat special results, vacated hexes. Yeah, the retreat happens first.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine.
Pursuit doesn't happen at all until the retreat's complete. So
All right. So I'll roll for this chap.
right.
27. He's going to be disordered and shaken, right?
Yeah, I think it is both, isn't it? Because that's the thing about getting overrun that way. It's kind of
Yeah.
ugly.
So
Ooh, just missed too. Yeah.
Well, with the -3.
Well,
actually would
right,
be better,
and
yeah.
still, it was
So.
pretty close. Yeah.
It's okay. Hey, we're used to it.
All right.
It's the Austrian way.
It's what we do.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So then he advanced with that one hex,
Correct.
and then he rolls for pursuit points, and he's not disordered. Uh-oh. Special result for pursuit. So it's surprising how rarely this happens, but it means you're going to need to roll on the pursuit special result,
table.
and then we'll find out what that means.
So roll a single die, Dave.
It's at the bottom of the special results table where the initiative special results are and the close combat special results. So it's bottom left, just a single die.
So I don't want a 2 or 4, right?
Yeah, you don't. That you want high or low, I think.
All right. So let's see.
Fortunately, what you want doesn't matter. The die roll is going to do whatever it wants.
Yeah.
That
So
probably not what
6
you wanted.
Roll and
Out
add.
of control.
No
All
recall
right.
possible.
Actually, this is probably not that big of a deal, but it does mean that you re-roll again, but add 5 to the die roll.
Reroll, add 5. So
All right, so that's 10.
Once a 10.
No recall is possible, but in practice, what it's going to mean is you're going to move forward 1 hex, and you have to stop it. So,
Right.
and that's all there is to
Yeah,
it.
you'd stop right there.
Yeah.
And then this guy would cease to exist because you spent a point.
Yes,
Right.
yes, that is correct. Yes. And then the other thing I want to check, because they kind of give you abbreviated versions of what the rules mean there for these special events. I want to just make sure, what does it mean by I think it means no voluntary recall is possible, but you still have to roll a recall check at the end regardless. But I'm just double checking. No voluntary recall is allowed for the length of the pursuit if the Utes disordered have it. If you eliminate the opponent, it'll still engage in pursuit to its full extent in a straight line from where the last SP was eliminated. But again, it doesn't matter because you ran into the enemy, so you have to stop. So now you'd roll a recall, which would be at plus what, 15, I think, plus 5 for the one pursuit point you used, plus 10 more for being in an enemy zone of control. I think that's right. No. Oh, is it a morale check? I guess it is. I thought it was.
It's a disorder check, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't even remember these damn rules. You don't expect me to remember them, do you? Jeez. Recall is a disorder check, so it'd be plus 5 and then plus 10.
Right.
So plus 15 altogether.
Okay, that's a big.
All right, no problem.
It's probably good enough.
Yeah. All right. Pretty entertaining. And so then there's this small other matter we need to deal with.
Yeah.
And that guy needs to actually roll for his defender morale check because he hasn't yet, and he's going to be at plus what, 23? No, plus 33.
He fails.
And he runs away, which means that he actually...
No, he loses an increment, and then
No,
he
he
runs away,
doesn't.
doesn't he? Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
he doesn't
okay.
because, well, here I am double checking.
Oh, no, I think you're right because
Because
it's
this is
pre-melee.
pre-close combat, right?
Right.
He just routes and runs.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ran before contact, so there was no loss. The trouble is, of course, he has to run southwest over his neighbor in order to avoid
fine.
losing the last strength point.
Okay, so he's down here. That's 6 away.
All right.
All right,
All
so
right,
then now
fair
we
enough.
roll for this chap.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
he's going to route.
Oh boy, no. Oh yeah, he is because he's already shaken.
shaken. Yeah.
So he's going to route. Good times.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gets him down there, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. All right. So you go ahead and move in, and in this case, you'd probably adopt a facing to the south because that's the way he retreated away, and then roll for pursuit.
Why do you roll for pursuit if there's no combat?
Because you ran away, and so he has a choice of choosing to run and follow you.
I thought pursuit only happened as a result of the combat table.
No. So pursuit. Let's see. Pursuit. Here I am looking for the word pursuit. You'd think I'd find it.
So it says cavalry that advances after combat may pursue retreated units. Well, we didn't have any combat.
Yeah, but advance after combat is defined as in 15.1a. When defending units vacate an attacker's front hex because of close combat result, a failed defender morale check B, or a retreat before close combat, at least one attacking unit must advance to occupy the vacated front hex. So in other words, it's still advance after combat, even though you're right, no actual combat happened.
Okay, cool.
And so, yeah, you just roll one die. Hold on. My bad. You were right, Eric.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No, it's quite all right. Page 32, 16.1b, there is no pursuit if the advancing cavalry is shaken, if the defending units are eliminated in the close combat, or if the enemy hex was vacated due to a retreat before close combat, even if the enemy unit routes because but that wasn't retreat before close combat. It wasn't. That was just, you failed. What they mean there is you can't pursue skirmishers who retreated before close combat. But that's not what this was. This was you just failed your morale check before close combat. So the enemy started getting close. You turned and ran like hell. The enemy might just smell blood and go. So yeah, actually, I take it back. I'm going back to my original claim that this is valid for pursuit. And to me, it makes all the sense in the world, right? You're starting a charge. The enemy turns and runs. You might just go hell for leather, right? On the other hand, they can't go very far because they can only advance 1 hex before that unit's vaporized. So whatever. And he rolls a 2. So he can advance 1 if he chooses and vaporize the original defender.
Right.
Or he can try to recall in place.
And I'd be advancing into this one right here.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah, that's where he would have run. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not really obvious that that's a great move. I mean, 1 strength point's nice, but whatever.
Yeah, it's he's not going to do much with it. So
There's
no,
not many skirmishers over there off to the side to bother you, and then the enemy infantry is nearby. I don't know.
I probably prefer just to stay where I am here.
All right, so you're gonna recall in place.
Recall in place.
All right, very good. All right, good enough. All right, well, let's chalk 1 up for the good guys then, because
over.
finally had a close combat that wasn't a complete debacle over there on the right.
Yeah.
Because as is advertised by the large array of shaken and disordered units in the back, some of the previous attempts have been less successful. Oh gosh, no, that was good, David. I think it got things cleared up, and that's fun.
I feel a little better.
Yeah.
With the way it is at the moment.
Yeah.
But
No, that's not bad at all.
All right. We should probably wrap it up here since
I think we should. I think we should. It is 10:30 here Central Time, and I'm going to go ahead and say, what is this? This is the 1500.
This is 5 p.m. Yeah, 5 p.m.
1700 hour.
Yeah. Part 1.
Part 1 of several.
Part,
Boom. Oh. Okay, well, brilliant. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Let's see, what do we got going on here these next couple of weeks? Anything particular?
I should be around here next weekend, but the following weekend, which is Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to be out of town. So
okay, good. All right,
no gaming then.
Very good.
I don't have anything scheduled that I'm aware of. So
okay, all right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you all here next Sunday night.
Indeed,
and we will stagger forward to a finish.
It's 9 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time, right?
That's right, and I'm going to remember it this time, so I don't show up an hour early like I did
6 o'clock Pacific time for Rick and I.
Right.
And Perry, what part of the universe are you in?
In California.
Oh, okay. So we got 3 Californians. So
okay,
all right.
Well, very good. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope it was fun for you to see us argue about the minutia of the rules.
That's how you learn. That's how everybody learns.
That's right. That's it. That's how it goes.